Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Rivers Assembly Speaker Martin Amaewhule, along with 15 other members, formally defect from PDP to APC. Court of Appeal bars VIO officials from stopping, impounding vehicles and imposing fines on motorists. Burkina Faso's military rulers set to introduce a death penalty abolished in 2018. Now, as usual, we have our reporters join us from different parts of the country and beyond. Biola Festus joins from Rivers State, Mono Balagbogo joins from Kogi State, while Bongane Siziba joins from South Africa. We've got the details in a moment. We start off now in Rivers State, where the State House of Assembly on Friday witnessed a major political shift as its Speaker, Martin Amaewhule, along with 15 other members, formally defected from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, the APC. The lawmakers said their move was prompted by the ongoing crisis within PDP at state level, arguing that they could no longer stay under a fractured party. The defection intensifies the long-running power struggle in the State Assembly, where rival factions have disputed the legitimacy of leadership and legislative seats ever since a similar mass defection back in December 2023. This shift is likely to alter the balance of power in the state, potentially giving APC a stronger foothold in Rivers politics ahead of future elections. And to security matters, top military officials have expressed confidence in ongoing efforts to restore peace across Nigeria. Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, says the country's security challenges are well understood, insisting that restoring normalcy must remain the top priority. He noted that President Bola Tinubu has shown clear determination to reposition Nigeria's security architecture, describing the efforts as being in very good hands. Meanwhile, a newly sworn-in Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, says Nigerians' expectations are huge.
I can assure you within the shortest possible time, Nigerians will see results. I want to use this medium to appreciate all Nigerians. Nigerians have shown me love, and I will guarantee them that I am going to work whatever it takes to ensure that Nigeria is secured. Yes, I just met Mr. President, and he reiterated his mind on the aspect that we must make sure that Nigeria is secured. Nigerians should go back and sleep with their eyes closed, go back to their farms, schools open without being molested, everyone being carried together to make sure that Nigeria continues to grow in line with the renewed program of the Mr. President.
We just need restoration of normalcy in this country by any means possible. And I think that this job is in very good hands. It does seem very clearly that the president wants to reposition the issues of security, and I think the situation is in very good hands. We are on all fours as far as that is concerned. Look, rain, thunder, sunshine, whatever it takes to get this mess under control. These guys need to be flushed out. Normalcy needs to return to our country. Laughter and joy has to come back to Nigeria within the shortest.
Now, over 700 indigenous residents of Plateau from the 17 local government areas of the state have commenced intensive training under Operation Rainbow to serve as first defenders against any outbreak of attacks. This was disclosed by the commander of a state independent security outfit, Operation Rainbow, Brigadier General Gakji Shipi, retired, who also doubles as the special advisor to the governor on security. News Central's Chizoba Anyuwe completes this report.
Brigadier General Gakji Shipi, retired, gives orders for the training session to commence.
700 on try, ready for address.
He's here to have a word with the new recruits and volunteers from the 17 local government areas of the state for Operation Rainbow. They will serve as community police, the first line of defense for the state. The essence is arising from recurrent violent attacks that had befallen the state taking lives and property for over 20 years.
That's where we're heading to. So they are supposed to be the first line of protection for the communities when they finish their training here. We didn't apply such a strict criteria with this group, and reason being that this group are already, we went to the communities to pick vigilantes and hunters already existing in the communities. We didn't just recruit people working on the street that are jobless. These ones were already volunteers within the community. They've been involved in safeguarding their various communities. So we're only formalizing what they've been doing as volunteers before. And that's why we were not particular about age or gender. So because they already have some experience. So we're only fine-tuning those experiences now and then deploying them back into a more organized role back in their communities.
While the training continues, General Shippey says plans are ongoing to equip them with the necessary technology and other security kits and gadgets for combat readiness.
Plans are in top gear for equipping them. The shopping list, permit me to use that terminology, is already with the appropriate authorities, and then eventually they will be provided with whatever we need to equip them to perform those duties. We already have that in place. It's already existing, so it's going to be an enabler to them when they go out in the field. So it's not now that we're just trying to get technology is already in place, and they are going to work with what we already have in place to give it better use. Because when you have technology, it gives you information, it gives you situational awareness, and if there's nobody to use that, then it's of no use. So they are the ones that will make use of it. But in areas of technology, we already have what we need to use already in place that will aid them in whatever they are going to do.
With 46 females and over 500 males, many will be hoping that the numbers, though small, can make meaningful impacts. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba Anioi.
The wife of Nigeria's President Oluremi Tinubu has urged young women to join the Nigeria Police Force, saying that the force represents dignity, honor, and an opportunity to serve the nation. Speaking during activities lined up to celebrate 70 years of women policing in Nigeria, she commended both serving and retired female officers, saying that their service has inspired and strengthened generations. Our correspondent Idong Joseph reports.
To mark the 7th, it was a moment of reflection, celebration, and renewed commitment as activities to mark the 70 years of women in policing in Nigeria enters its 4th day.
What we celebrate today is not just advancement in rank, but advancement in relevance. Empowered women empower institutions, and empowered institutions transform nations.
Honoring the bravery of pioneers who first wore the uniform in 1955 by laying the foundation for thousands of women, the wife of the president who praised the police for prioritizing gender inclusivity urged the young women who seek to serve in the police to take the opportunity.
To the girls and young women who may be watching this ceremony, now that the future of inclusivity is yours. If you feel the call to serve a great nation, know that there is a place for you. This uniform symbolizes service, dignity, honor, and responsibility.
While it is part of ongoing efforts by the police gender units to advance inclusive policing, career advancement, training, and policies that protect female officers from harassment and discrimination, the Inspector General of Police reaffirms the force's commitment to expanding opportunities and protect female officers.
We are committed to expanded local and international training opportunities for women, sustaining the current merit-based bias-free promotions, greater representation of women in tactical, operational, and command roles, enhanced welfare and family-friendly policies.
The Bahamas Chief of Police at the event highlighted attributes needed to succeed as a female police officer.
This job, this arena, a career as a female in policing is not for the faint of heart. It requires grit, steadiness, and courage. And for those of you brave women who opt in, Remember that failure is not an option.
The bold decision, once seen as an unconventional one over 7 decades ago, has today become a foundation for thousands of women serving across the country. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
It is now the second day of the indefinite strike by judiciary workers in Kogi State. Court offices in Lokoja and across the state remain firmly shut, with no official response yet from the state government. News Central's Mono Balagbogo joins us now with the 12th report for the ground results or reports in Lokoja. Mono, what exactly is the atmosphere like in the High Court complex? Are the workers still picketing, or has it gone completely quiet?
Hello, good afternoon, blessings. Well, I'm live here at the High Court in Lokoja. The workers are not picketing, they are just not coming to work. The gates of the courts here is closed, and then even at the Lokoja Customary Court, it's also closed. I was able to speak with some of the JUSEN workers, the vice chairman, Comrade Bello, who was talking to me about some of the issues that they have with the government. Well, in his words, he says they are not fighting government. All they just want is the payment of their October 2024 salaries according to the minimum wage, 72,500, as approved by Governor Usman Ododo, and also the 2025 leave bonuses. That is what they are asking for. And this is not the first time they are calling for strike. Recall the last time they called it off due to the governor's response to, tackle some of the wages that still owed to them, and the promise was that they were going to pay, but the comrade Wamako, who is the state chairman for JUSEN here in Kogi State, yesterday they made the decision to go on this indefinite strike. I had reached out to him earlier, but he says he's not in town. They're having next meeting, and of course, later on, perhaps I'll be able to give updates on the situation of things so far. But right here, it's all calm, it's all quiet, just security operations that you can find here at the courts in Lokoja. Back to you, blessings.
And the strike was suspended last month after promises from the governor himself. What specific commitment has the government failed to keep that forced JUSEN to resume the strike action?
Well, of course, the commitment is just the minimum wage. According to them, when the government met with them, they had promised that they were going to pay. But from the draft that they saw, from what the vice chairman told me today, was the fact that it is not up to the new minimum wage as approved. So it's not as if the government did not respond. The government responded. According to them, both the Chief Justice, they've been writing letters to the government, they've been having these meetings with government, and there's been this, forthcoming that this was going to be solved, but they are not satisfied. They want the full 2024 full minimum wage. That is what they're asking for. They don't want anything less than that. They're also talking about the fact that you have the executive arm of government, you also have the state assembly, the legislature, and you have the judiciary. And they are like, regarding the 2025 bonuses, that they should not be owed. They should not be the last to receive. But I must tell you, blessings, regarding the leave bonuses, it's not just the judiciary. The government has been paying the leave bonuses in tranches. So like I reacted to him, I was like, are you aware that even the State Polytechnic just got recently paid? So aren't you people patient enough to hear from government regarding the payment of those areas? That was my conversation to him. But for him, they feel like, they deserve more because they are the judiciary, they are part of the three arm of government, and they feel that at least the government should take that seriously. To your presence.
All right, Mono Balagbogo, thank you so much for the update on Kogi judiciary strike over unpaid wages. We are still live on the 12th report. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, Court of Appeal bars VIO officials from stopping, impounding vehicles and imposing fines on motorists. We've got the details after the break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, let's still stay on judicial matters. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has upheld a federal high court ruling that bars the Directorate of Road Traffic Services, popularly known as the VIO, from stopping or impounding vehicles and imposing fines on motorists. A 3-member appellate panel dismissed the VIO's appeal in a unanimous judgment, with Justice Oyejoju Oyewumi declaring the case without merit. The court also awarded 1 million naira in costs against the VIO and in favor of rights activist and public interest lawyer Abubakar Marshall, who brought the original suit. Marshall had told the court that VIO officials wrongfully stopped and confiscated his vehicle in Abuja's Jabi district in December 2023, violating his fundamental right. The earlier judgment by Justice Maha now affirmed restrained the VIO and its agents from impounding vehicles or imposing fines on motorists, describing such actions as unlawful and oppressive. To politics now, the Young Progressives Party has expelled federal lawmaker Uzokwe Peter, representing Nnewi North, Nnewi South, and Ekusigo federal constituency in the House of Representatives from the party, following allegations of gross misconduct in violation of the party's constitution. This unanimous decision was taken by members of the party as they converged on Abuja for the party's 24th Extraordinary National Executive Committee meeting. News Central's correspondent Aishat Saliu reports.
In attendance at the 24th National Executive Committee meeting of the Young Progressives Party were all state chairmen of the party, the National Working Committee, and the Board of Trustees. All present were gathered for one purpose: how to move the party forward.
Let us prepare the meal. As we do this, we should be mindful of the path, the route, and we don't need to quarrel. We don't need to fight with anybody. We are going to use all our energy to build this party. And in building this party, we must first of all start with being proud of this party.
They soon moved to elect and administer the oath of office to 9 national officers to fill vacant positions within the national executive structures.
The NEC congratulates all newly elected officers and urges them to discharge their duties with diligence, integrity, and unwavering commitment to the ideals of the Young Progressives Party.
Another highlight of the meeting was the unanimous expulsion of Uzokwe Peter, the member representing Nnewi North, Nnewi South, Ekusigo federal constituency in the House of Representatives.
His expulsion follows multiple petitions and verified video evidence of anti-party activities, constituting gross misconduct in the violation of the party's constitution, particularly Section 36, subsection 7, Article B, F, and O, pages 70 and 71, which clearly outline offenses and sanctions. The NEC reaffirms its zero-tolerance policy for acts that undermine party unity, discipline, and cohesion.
The YPP maintains electoral reforms are needed to move Nigeria's democracy forward.
We have been preaching, electoral reform over the years. There is no amount of message you will send to those people who are saddled with responsibility of doing it. If they want to do it, if the YPP like, from now till next year election, whatever you say, nothing can change, except those who are saddled with the responsibility of doing that, which is the National Assembly.
Members of the party condemned attempts by any group of political actors to steer the country into a one-party state, saying that the strength of the nation's democracy lies in a healthy multi-party competition, respect for dissent, and freedom of political participation. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
To the energy sector now, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASEN, has threatened to take action against companies that have failed to review the wages of its members, despite the rising cost of living and the impact of currency devaluation. President of PENGASEN, Festus Osifo, while addressing journalists after the union's final National Executive Council meeting for the year 2025, says that employers must urgently adjust wages or brace for intense action from the union.
Today, a lot of companies, we have achieved successes, but there are still few that we are still discussing their CBAs, that we are not yet there. We wish to use this opportunity to call on these companies that are still foot dragging, that are still holding back, even with the massive devaluation that has occurred in our country, that still don't want to fix the remuneration of our members. We are calling on them to do the needful, because for us in Pengassan, we will push without holding back. We will push using everything in our arsenal to ensure that the needful is done. The government, both at the federal, at the state, and at the local level, should do everything possible to curb this menace. We have heard severally when they tell us that they know the sponsors of these terrorists. The question is that, where are the sponsors? Why haven't you named these sponsors? Why haven't you exposed these sponsors? Why haven't you go after them? Take them to the lockout and get them convicted to serve as deterrents to others.
The Gender Mobile Initiative has called for adequate institutional responses against gender-based violence, especially sexual harassment on Nigerian campuses, in a bid to protect female students. The group, as part of activities marking the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence in Abuja, unveiled an app saying that adequate use of technology can help tackle this vice. Our correspondent Aishat Saliu reports.
The recent conviction of the Dean of the Faculty of Law of University of Calabar, Professor Cyril Ndifo, has continued to generate reactions nationwide. Many gender rights advocates say it exposes a problem many have ignored for far too long in the country.
Sexual harassment is epidemic. It's endemic in learning environments. It has assumed an epidemic proportion, with 70% of female undergraduates experiencing sexual harassment.
As the nation celebrates the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, many believe that the time is now to spotlight the issues of sexual harassment on Nigerian campuses. One organization, the Gender Mobile Initiative, convened government representatives, including key stakeholders, on the need to act decisively. While premiering a short film on women's rights titled The Moment We Stand, it also unveiled a Campus Pal app to help curb sexual harassment in universities.
This scale of the problem has been largely attributed to lack of reporting, lack of accountability mechanism, lack of policy, and today we're here to launch the Campus Pal version 2.0, which is supposed to be a safety tool, or which is a safety tool for learners to explore, to report cases, and to demand institutional accountability.
And so I'm really happy that with the work of Campus Mobile, there is a lot of agency that has been put in place to ensure that the voices of our daughters, of our children are being heard, and that justice is done when it is required.
The senior special advisor to President Bola Tinubu, who was in attendance, assured of the president's commitment to protecting Nigerian students from harassment.
We have been working day and night to see that justice is being placed on those who has violated, who has molested, who has harassed our female students. But the president himself is he for she, and the president believes so much in our female gender, and he has been doing everything possible to carry women, female gender, as far as this government is concerned.
The app is expected to strengthen institutional response using technology and ensure that Nigerian campuses are safer for female students across the country. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
And to health matters, the Nigerian Senate has raised alarm over a rapidly escalating lead poisoning crisis in Ogijo, a densely populated area spanning Ikorodu in Lagos and Ogun East Senatorial District. Lawmakers describe the situation as a severe environmental and public health emergency threatening thousands of residents. Reports indicate that the contamination stems from several used lead-acid battery recycling factories operating in the area for years. Residents have reportedly experienced chronic symptoms including headaches, abdominal pain, memory loss, seizures, and developmental delays in children. Independent testing revealed soil and blood lead levels up to 186 times the global safety threshold. The federal government has acted by shutting down 7 factories and halting lead ingot export, while state authorities continue inspections and community awareness campaigns. The Senate urged urgent measures to prevent further exposure and safeguard public health. Still talking about public health, as Nigeria's healthcare system continues to struggle with delays, uneven access, and operational insufficiencies, public health experts are turning attention to digital technology as a critical solution. From telemedicine to artificial intelligence, they say the future of effective healthcare delivery will depend on how quickly the country integrates modern digital tools. Omolola Ololade reports.
From appointment scheduling to medical record storage and diagnostics, technology has become the backbone of modern healthcare systems. But in Nigeria, experts say the gap between health and technology remains wide and urgently needs to be bridged.
Talking about how 200-level students, medical students, have started deploying artificial intelligence.
At this conference themed Global Health Under Threat, public health physicians stressed that digital tools are essential for improving efficiency, boosting access, and addressing persistent weaknesses in Nigeria's healthcare delivery.
Before we could get the team ready, took some time. Unfortunately, one of the 2 confirmed cases, we lost them. So any of these operational gaps should become a problem statement for innovation.
After this event, we expect individuals to be knowledgeable about ways in which technology, artificial intelligence can help healthcare providers do their work more efficiently.
Experts add that technology not only reduces delays and human errors, but also enhances disease tracking, emergency response, and remote consultations, critical in a country with uneven access to medical professionals.
We're looking at the role of AI and telemedicine to bridge operational gaps, especially given the brain drain and the massive reduction in workforce capacity. So we're hoping that the outcome of this conference will help us to prefer solutions to the myriad of problems that arise from the lack of funding.
All we just need to do is that every health facility or every means of getting this done is made accessible, available, affordable, and the right technology for the person.
But challenges persist, from unreliable power supply to poor internet connectivity and high infrastructure costs. The road to digital transformation remains steep. Still, stakeholders insist these barriers must not delay progress. They say integrating technology into healthcare is now a necessity, not a choice, if Nigeria hopes to build a system capable of meeting global standards and responding effectively to emerging health threats. In Lagos, for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
To news on the festive season. The Federal Capital Territory Police Commissioner, Mila Dantawaye, has appeals to residents in the capital to support the police with timely and relevant information to help combat insecurity during the upcoming festive season. Speaking with journalists in Abuja, Dantawaye says that the command has reactivated Operation Sweep, a joint task force which is already yielding results in tackling one-chance activities, car theft, and other crimes, adding that sustained efforts are underway to eliminate these threats across the capital. He also urged residents to be cautious with electrical appliances to prevent fire outbreaks during the dry season, assuring them that the police remains on standby to collaborate with the fire service in responding to emergencies.
So activities will be heightened, crime and criminality. We're expecting that they will want to rear their ugly heads for us, we are taking steps to ensure that we nip them even before they start to come up. For instance, we have commenced very serious patrols around the FCT. You will notice that our pin down points, our stop and search points are very, very well activated this period. So I just thought that we should together work and get as much information as from us. When I say us, I mean residents in Abuja, including we, the press people. Whatever information you grab, please try and pass it as fast as possible.
You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We're going on a short break now. When we come back, we'll bring you the business news. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on the 12 Report. Now let's look at some business stories. Nigeria's aviation sector could see a 20% drop in GDP contribution and up to 30% job cuts after tax reforms take effect on the 1st of January 2026, experts have warned. The new regime expands VAT on tickets, fuel, parts and services, compounding existing costs and tax burdens. Industry leaders say higher costs may depress demand, force airline cutbacks and threaten smaller carriers. Calls for exemptions and waivers are growing amid fears of increased fares and reduced connectivity. IATA says the policy violates international treaties and risks weakening the sector's $2.5 billion economic contribution and 39,500 direct jobs. The Nigerian federal government has approved the settlement of 185 billion naira in long-standing debts owed to natural gas producers, aiming to revitalize the gas sector and stabilize power generation nationwide. President Bola Tinubu's administration, through the National Economic Council, authorized the payment to restore investor confidence and encourage new investments. The move, executed via a royalty offset arrangement, addresses cash flow constraints and past supply arrears, which have hampered gas supply to power plants and worsened electricity shortages. This intervention aligns with the Decade of Gas initiative and is expected to boost industrial growth, job creation, and sector transparency. We're still talking business. The federal government has assured road contractors that all outstanding payments will be cleared by December 20th, 2025, following protests over unpaid debts, reportedly totaling 4 trillion naira. Minister of Works David Umahi announced the formation of a special committee to verify and settle claims, emphasizing transparency by inviting ICPC and the EFCC to audit projects nationwide. An online monitoring platform will be launched for public accountability as well. Umahi highlighted President Tinubu's swift intervention in funding emergency repairs, including the Kefi flyover, and reaffirmed the administration's commitment to quality, transparency, and timely completion of critical infrastructure projects. And to stories outside the continent, Burkina Faso's military rulers announced through its Council of Ministers that it will bring back the death penalty, which was abolished in 2018, and that's still staying in Africa. The new penal code must be approved by the transitional legislature created by the ruling junta, reinstates the death penalty for a number of offenses, including high treason, acts of terrorism, acts of espionage, among others. The death penalty was abolished 30 years later under the civilian government of March Christian Kabore. Burkina Faso has been plagued by jihadists who have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group for more than a decade now, with the junta struggling to keep a lead on the burgeoning unrest. Besides Burkina Faso, DR Congo reversed a more than 2-decade-long moratorium on capital punishment in 2024, while Nigeria has moved to make drug-related crimes punishable by death. Still in Africa, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have signed a peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. The deal comes at a time of growing violence in eastern DR Congo. Clashes between the M23 rebel group and Congolese government forces, supported by coalition troops, have intensified across South Kivu province in recent days. Under the deal backed by Trump, Congo is expected to crack down on an armed group opposed to M23, the Democratic Forces of the Liberation of Rwanda. Rwanda is also supposed to withdraw its forces from Congo. Meanwhile, Trump's administration is looking to facilitate billions of dollars in Western investment in a region rich in minerals. We have our News Central's correspondent Bongani Saziba with more on this.
Yes, indeed, a breakthrough from Washington where historic strides were taken towards peace in the Central Africa. Leaders from the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda signing that peace deal with President Donald Trump are aiming to end the years of conflict in the region. Let's take a listen to his remarks.
This is a special occasion for a lot of reasons, but number one is it's our first occasion in this building using it for peace, and it's all about peace, and it's a great honor, and Marco, you've done a fantastic job.
But however, behind this diplomatic breakthrough lies a backdrop of escalating violence. Just ahead of the summit, fighting intensified in the eastern DRC Congo between government forces and rebels believed to be backed by Rwanda. The Congolese army has accused these rivals of trying to sabotage the peace process, while the M23 rebels have claimed that the army launched a breach of the ceasefire. This long-standing conflict has been fueled by mutual accusations. President Felix Tshisekedi of DRC Congo and Rwandan President Paul Kagame have exchanged insults over the years, each blaming the other for instigating the violence, a very tense backdrop to Thursday's ceremony. However, critics and analysts say even if US President say he has ended this war, it's clear President Kagame and President Tshisekedi don't trust each other based on what they said in their speeches. Let's take a listen to what they said.
There will be ups and downs on the road ahead. There is no doubt about it. Rwanda, I know, will not be found wanting. I can assure you of that.
Nous demeurons vigilants, mais pas pessimistes, lucides, mais résolument optimistes.
Meanwhile, both parties expressed gratitude and clear hope that they will respect the deal. So now, as the world watches these developments unfold, the question remains, can words on paper translate into lasting peace on the ground? Only time will tell. For News Central, Bongani Siziba.
And now to further discuss this, we're joined by political analyst Tele Nzomo, who joins us from Nairobi, Kenya. Tele, thank you for joining us. What are your initial thoughts on the peace deal signed in Washington, D.C. between both countries?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. My initial thoughts are that, as you mentioned, other than the speeches given, this will not be a permanent solution to the crisis that we're seeing in DRC. As you know, this is not a problem that started 2, 3, or even 5 years ago. This is something that has been there since the 90s, after the Rwandan genocide, when Mobutu Sese Seko was still president of then Zaire, and since then we've seen multiple peace deals being signed between Rwanda and DRC on this particular issue. The second thing we have to note, and again you mentioned this on your piece, is the issue regarding the rebel groups and M23. The deal that was signed between the Washington Accords did not include anything to do with M23. Now, it's important to note that there is a separate talks that are being held where the Qataris are mediating between M23 and the DRC government. But as we saw this week, we saw the two parties actually escalating the attacks between each other. The third part is actually the question on the minerals and how will the minerals be used. One of the things that you had President Trump speak during the entire process of this deal is the fact that the US wants to have some sort of access to the minerals. So that question of the minerals, how it will affect the local communities, will be a big question. So I don't believe that this will be a permanent solution.
So also, do you believe that this agreement has the potential to bring peace, even if it's not a permanent solution? Does it have the potential to at least bring peace in the interim? And why do you think so, if you do?
It's difficult to say so because, as you pointed out in your news piece, is that right now we have escalating conflict between M23 and the DRC. There's a big issue regarding the armed groups within DRC and what their role will play. So without them being included in this particular agreement, and without them being included in the agreement and in the issues that are going on, it's difficult to see long-lasting peace or even temporary issues.
So considering Rwanda's past denial of involvement in the DRC conflict, how do you interpret the recent participation in this peace process?
Well, if you look at the agreement itself, one of the things that it notes is that Rwanda agrees to withdraw some of its troops from the DRC. So that clearly means that they have been part and parcel of the conflict. And as I mentioned before, we have seen multiple deals between Rwanda and DRC, including that have been led, by President Kagame. So this clearly means that Rwanda has been part of the problem. As much as they may want to deny it, it is clear that they have been part of the conflict.
So in your view, before we let you go, what are the key factors that will determine whether this peace deal succeeds or fails, either long-term or in the interim?
Yeah. So in my mind, there are two issues. One I mentioned before was the issue regarding the armed groups. That's the M23, but we also have to now bring in FDLR, which Rwanda is obviously been attacking. There needs to be a solution or a way forward regarding what happens to these groups. Do they just disintegrate, and also the support that they get from both the governments of Rwanda and DRC? That will be critical in how things move forward. The second issue, and again I mentioned it before, is the issue of minerals, and I do believe this might be an issue that will be there for a very long time, because clearly there's a lot of interest, not just locally, but internationally, with countries like China, countries like US, fighting for the minerals or fighting for control of the minerals within that area. So the question of what happens to those minerals, how do the local communities, how do they, what do they get from the minerals? What do they get from, the advancements of those minerals will be an important issue.
All right. Thank you so much, political analyst Tele Nzomo, for joining us and, of course, lending your voice to this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
An absolute pleasure. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now let's go to Rivers State, where the State House of Assembly on Friday witnessed a major political shift as its Speaker, Martin Amerule, along with 15 other members, formally defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. And we have News Central's correspondent Biola Festus, who's joining us now live to give us more update. Biola, what can you tell us about this development?
Good afternoon, Blessing. There appears to be there's going to be another round of political drama in Rivers State. Now, during the plenary today, some 15 members of the House of Assembly, including the Speaker, Martin Amerule, officially defected to the APC. Now, there's been a controversy around their defection when this happened sometime last year, which they came out to say they never defected. It was just drama, and we all know what ensued that event. Now today, this defection, they made it official. It was live on TV. And of course, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State, Tony Okota, the factional chairman. I must put factional because there's another person named claim to that position. He was in attendance at that plenary where they defected. Now, they've gone on record. Don't forget that when they had their last session 2 days ago, they did say their next day to convene the House was going to be on Monday, but that didn't happen. Abruptly, they are sitting today just for the sake of the defection from the PDP to the APC. Now they cited this array, this unity within the PDP as their reason for defecting to the APC. Also, last 2 weeks, the governor of Rivers State had visited the ongoing construction of the Rivers State Assembly complex. And he did mention that he has decided to speed up the construction so that it will be completed before the end of this year in order for him to present the 2026 budget to that house at the new assembly complex that is being constructed. Now, during today's plenary, the lawmakers they are sitting at the makeshift venue that they are using now, which happens to be their quarters. They are using a certain hall at their quarters to hold their sitting. So they said they have decided, they've resolved to continue their sitting at that venue. Now, this goes in contrast to what the governor has said. Also, today at the sitting, they did mention that the governor is yet to constitute its executive council, citing the absence of some key officials at his cabinet. I beg your pardon. The likes of the Commissioner for Education, the Attorney General of the state, those people are yet to be appointed, and the lawmakers found at today's plenary. So with all of this, we are expecting more events to unfold in the coming days because the governor is planning to present the budget to them by December this month. And the lawmakers have already gone on recess to reconvene in January 26th of 2026. Blessings.
All right, Biola Festus, thank you so much for the update from River State there. So Nigeria is back in the headlines as the government finally approves a massive 185 billion naira repayment for long-standing gas debts. Now, on paper, this move is supposed to unlock power, stabilize electricity supply, and of course, get homes and businesses out of the darkness economy that we've been running on for so many years now. It sounds technical, but it hits every Nigerian directly, from the mama that fries akara at 5 a.m. to the big tech bros grinding, especially around Yaba. Now, you see, for years, gas suppliers have been side-eyeing the power sector because they were owed money. No gas means no electricity generation, and no electricity means Nigerians burn money on fuel and generators. And imagine how much that would cost. And the stress has been real. This repayment is basically the government saying, fine, let's clear the table so power plants can actually work consistently, you see. The hope is simple. Better gas supply equals better electricity output. But here's where it gets tricky. Nigerians have heard this promise time and time again. People want to see actual light, not the headlines, not the promises, but light. They want to stop spending half of their salary on fuel or solar panels and even repairs. They want stable power so that small businesses like the marketplaces and even startups can breathe again. So while this repayment is a big policy win, the real test starts now. Will this payment translate to more hours of actual electricity, or will it just be another item in the federal highlight reel? At the end of the day, Nigerians are not asking for magic. They just want to see light. They want it stable. They want it predictable. They want uninterrupted power. They don't have to buy fuel for gen or solar power batteries. That alone will change our economy, will change our mood, will change how we spend. And honestly, it will change our entire national energy. So let's see if this move finally delivers. That's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the sporting world. Nigerian captain William Troost-Ekong retires from international football after a decade with the Super Eagles. And Favourite Tour will tell us more on the leadership void ahead of 2025 AFCON in Morocco. Favourite Tour, are you ready?
Yes, of course, Blessings. A big story involving William Troost-Ekong, who has served Nigeria for the past 10 years. There's been talks about how to fill the vacuum left by William Troost-Ekong, knowing fully well that we are less than 20 days to the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. We'll be talking about this and what would bring from our fans, of course, our viewers who will be watching to this edition of In the Game.
All right, well, we'll see how that turns out. You've heard us stay tuned on In the Games, and that's all on the 12 report today. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen because we want to see what you see. Also, do also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Wasugu.